1 minute and 10 seconds. I never thought that 1 minute and 10 seconds could get me so excited, but recently, at the Mappa Stage Presentation 2021, during the 10-year anniversary of Studio Mappa, they showed off the PV for Chainsaw Man's upcoming anime adaptation. And with this PV, I am fully sold on Mappa's ability to adapt the series, but also bring over Fujimoto's own charm and personality. So let's dig through this PV and see what we're getting hyped for. Now clearly this video will be covering spoilers for all of Chainsaw Man, thus if you haven't read it, please do. It's probably one of the best things that has come out of Jump in years. So first we start in the middle of an alleyway with young Denji staring into the blackened abyss, as he has just killed his father in self-defense, as shown by the broken bottle and blood that we soon see after. He then lets out a deep breath and it pans out to reveal a city street in which this all takes place in. Now the scene not only establishes Denji's detachment from the outside world, but we also see a small rat early on in the scene that turns from him and retreats deeper into the alleyway itself, referring to one of the main themes of Denji as a character, that being the city mouse versus the country mouse. Denji in this moment has forced himself to become a city mouse, especially since this is the moment that Makima later chooses to break him with. Also, the street that they pull out from seemingly is in reference to the route that Reze takes to work in the manga, even having the street end with a cafe corner, though the layout is a bit different, so I'm not entirely sure if that was fully the intention or not, though the rat is clearly in reference to the main theme of that arc at least. Though this whole memory would be locked away by Denji, hence why the events themselves are cast in shadow. And then with the TV flicker, we have a reinforcement for that city mouse comparison, which is essentially the idea of risking everything for greater rewards. And as we see the family dynamic between Denji, Power, and Aki, with the three of them enjoying a meal together and just kind of bonding like family, this is something Denji believes wouldn't be possible on his own, which is then followed up by a shot of the strawberry jam, plum jam, marmalade, butter, honey, cinnamon toast that Denji prepares for himself in Chapter 4, and is essentially a physical manifestation of his happiness. Happiness that he only has because he's a city mouse. Then following this, we have a cutaway to an original scene which depicts Denji, Power, and Kobeni's car's owner playing at the beach. A scene that is seemingly completely original to this anime, but might be in reference to one of the character popularity polls as it takes place on a beach. This depicts a happy fantasy that Denji wished to live, which is made clear that it is a fantasy by the shaky static overlay over the scene itself. This is then later followed up by another fantasy involving Aki and Himino, with them lying together in bed, playing both into their partnership and Himeno's own clear romantic feelings towards Aki. Him smoking a cigarette also shows that this is at least a decent bit into their partnership, as Aki wasn't smoking when they originally joined up together and Himeno had to sort of force it onto him. Also, their half-naked status, lying in bed with each other, and Himeno's obvious advances imply that there was a night of passion spent between the two, reinforced partly by Aki smoking a cigarette in bed, which is a common symbol used to imply some form of sex had just occurred. And much like how Denji was fantasizing about the beach, this is assumedly Himeno fantasizing if Aki agreed to run away with her. This could also be in reference to the two's bond shared physically through cigarettes, given that it's the item that Aki is given from beyond the grave by her, which in itself is a Fooly Cooly reference. But these fantasies are just that, fantasies, as it pulls out from a TV playing these scenes in what looks like the room that Denji, Kishibe, and a happy car insurance owner are hiding from Makima at the end of the series. And if so, this TV representing positive memories might be a play onto when Denji finds out that there's no such thing as a peaceful life, along with the scene where he finds out that the public is praising him. Then we move to quick shots one after another, one of the Infinity Devil bursting down a hallway in the hotel which it traps the Devil Hunters in. Then of course the gravesite of Devil Hunters, where fresh flowers have been placed at a grave, one that represents Himeno's partner before Aki, though the flowers themselves resemble that of the one that she is resting in on her cover page. Then following this, we have Aki holding a piece of the Gun Devil that Himeno and him acquired from a Junji Ito reference, which then leads into Aki flashing back to when the Gun Devil attacked and wiped out his and many others' entire families in mere seconds. Which then, tying into the Gun Devil, we see the Yakuza's Katana Man and the Snake Devil user, who are both contracted by the Gun Devil, assumedly stalking the Devil Hunters and Sector 4 specifically, preparing for their attack. Then we are greeted with a door at the end of an alleyway, one that represents Denji's psychological logical blockage of his father's murder and a major plot point in the story, as Puchita rests behind it and constantly warns Denji not to open it. Though following this, we see one of the most important parts of Denji and Puchita's relationship, them hugging at night, which is in reference to the last night that they spend together, but also Puchita's greatest desire. And then we reach the action reel of the PV, pulling into Makima using her devil abilities to assist in taking out the Yakuza that are threatening her crew. Along with this, we see a scene of Denji starting his engine, which I believe comes from when he fights Katana Man for the second time, given that he has a fresh pair of clothes with no bloodstains, but it could be anywhere. Next, we see Aki's usage of Cone during their first meeting with Katana Man, and it tearing through the buildings that they were on. Following this, he draws his Cursed Devil Sword and prepares to go in and fight Katana Man one-on-one. Then finally, we end the reel with Kishibe standing up and walking off, which could be original footage, but also reminds me a bit of his meeting with Yoshida during the Assassin's arc. And then in the next action reel, we see a demonstration of Power's, well, power for the first time, which is her excitedly crashing down on the Sea Cucumber Devil with her blood mallet. And then we have Denji charging forward at the Bat Devil in their first fight, followed up by him doing the same, challenging the Leech Devil. Though when fighting the Leech Devil, he's only half transformed, which is honestly one of his best moments. And then we snap back to Infinity, and Himeno's team is running from the approaching Devil's body, with a funny scene of Denji shoving Aki backwards towards the Infinity Devil, showing his more selfish attitude at this point in the story. But this is then followed up by Makima demonstrating to Denji the difference between a want and need, and then finally, we end on what looks like Denji for the first time using the Chainsaw Devil's power to fight against the zombie Yakuza. But given in this scene, his outfit is his Devil Hunter uniform, this could actually be when they do the Yakuza warehouse raid. Though, this could also just be a stand-in model for Denji at this point, as it looks slightly CG, so the design might change in the final release, but that's just my guessing. This could also just be originally made for the PV. Then finally we see the title drop, followed by credits and my personal favorite touch. A chainsaw revving noise can be heard in the background of the credits, which I feel is in reference to Angel's description of the last thing devils remember when they're reborn from hell, that being the revving of the Chainsaw Devil's engine. And honestly, this PV has me so goddamn hyped for the anime's release. The usage of TV static and visual defects during happy moments, along with how deep they're willing to foreshadow the events, makes me believe that they're willing to go all out for this anime release. And even if they add their own original elements to it, Fujimoto's charm will remain. It honestly gave me the same eerie vibe that a lot of the Chainsaw Man fan animations I've seen all around YouTube has given me. It feels like they're really playing into the horror element, which is an important part of Chainsaw Man. Though, if I had to guess, I imagine MAPPA has a pretty good idea of what they want to do with Chainsaw Man right up to the Katana Devil arc right now. And if the season is only like 12 episodes long, I think that's about where it'll finish. Though, if we do go beyond that, I know there's one other person I'd like to see animated. So, come on, Mappa, show me that preview. I'm of course talking about Beam! Anyways, what did you think? Did I miss anything major? Tell me below. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like in the future, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/MediNotTheBadGuy. Every little bit helps keep this channel flowing as smoothly as it does, and fuck it, go read Chainsaw Man. No Shimonetta read this time, just go read Chainsaw Man.